everybody, welcome to my channel. My name is Chris. My channel name is Crafting Chris. If you're new here, welcome on in. I know I've had a few new subscribers, so it's great to have you here. If you're a returning subscriber, welcome back. It's good to see you again. I have a few things I want to go over today. I hope you'll find something here that's interesting to you or that inspires you a little bit. I'm going to go over some stats from the last month. We've got some whips, some new starts. I've got a finish, which turned into a final finish or an FFO. I'm going to show you a future start, some haul that I actually got, and my plans for February. And then a little peek into my Etsy shop. And at the end, I'll just quickly show you a craft from the past, something that I've done in the past. So let's get started with some statistics. I've borrowed this idea from my friend Gail in Australia. Hi, Gail. And I'm just going to quickly run through some stats from the last month, or since I last saw you. I kind of like this idea. It kind of gives me a good solid way to look back and see actually what have I done in the last month. So in the last month, I have worked on 4 of my whips. I've had 6 new starts, 1 finish, which, as I said before, turned into an FFO. That I'll show you in a little bit. So let's get started with the whips. So the first thing that I worked on at the end of December was my Behind the Bit pattern by White Willow Stitching. And sorry, this has gotten the colors coming off the printout here. But that's what it'll look like some year when it's finished. And this is where I'm at right now. So this is one of these. The pattern is made from a photograph. So yeah, it looks better back farther, but that's kind of up close. So I have finished a page and now I'm starting on to another page. So I think I'm on page 4 or 5, I'm not sure. There's 15 pages in total. So yeah, I'm really liking how that's coming along, and it's really fun to stitch on. And I do hope to have it finished someday and hanging on my wall because I love it. It reminds me of a horse that I used to ride when I was in high school. He looks a lot like that. So if you watched my last video, I talked a little bit about sort of my strategy of how I thought I'd like to do my stitching this year. And so far it's working really well and I'm really enjoying it. So each month I'm going to pick 2 projects that are going to be my focus projects for that month. And one I'll work on from Monday to Wednesday, and the other one I'll work on Thursday and Friday, plus or minus maybe part of Wednesday, depending on how things are going that week. And then on the weekends, I'm going to spin my decision wheel and just randomly pick one of my other whips and work on it for the weekend. So the first feature project for January was Christmas Village by Sara Guermani, I believe. I don't know if you can see that very well. That's what it'll look like when it's finished. It's a 6-page pattern. And, oh yeah, and I keep forgetting too. So White Willow Stitching was stitched on an 18-count Oatmeal Aida using DMCs. Christmas Village is on 32-count lamb's wool linen with DMC threads. So I finished page 2 of 6. So I'm 2/3 of the way done. So I'm going to work on this because we're still in January. So I'll work on this at the end of this week for a couple more days. And then it'll go back in the whip pile until it gets called again, whether it be called on a weekend or if it gets called as a feature or a focus project another month. I have sort of set myself, I think, a guideline that if I spun the wheel and it picked it as my focus project next month, I'm going to leave it up to myself depending on how I'm feeling. If I still want to work on it, then I might just give it another month. If I want to change, then I'll respin and pick something else. So my other focus project was Folk Art Fox, and I'm going to show you that in a little bit because that's my finish. So I'm going to move on to one of my weekend spins, and that was this project, which is the Northwind Stocking. It's a Dimensions Gold Collection kit. This is my oldest whip, and it's a stocking that I'm making for my husband. So that's what it'll look like when it's finished. I did double check just before I came on, and this is an out of print chart. It's like from 1999. I think I saw a copy of it on eBay for like $184 or something ridiculous like that. So, but if you really want it, you can get it, but yeah. So that is where I got to. So there's still back stitching to do in Santa that'll really make them pop. But I was surprised because when I left this project, I think I had a bad vibe when I left it. It was just a lot of all over the place. But I started this project a couple of years ago, maybe 2018, the beginning of 2018. And so obviously, I don't think I'd even found Flosstube at that point. So I didn't know things like parking and anyway, I've just learned a tremendous amount since then. So when I went back to it, I sort of cleaned it up a little bit and found a system or a way to stitch that wasn't as confusing. And I really enjoyed it. I was really having fun working on it and didn't want to put it down. And I debated just, throwing the whole rotation strategy out the window. But I thought maybe it was good to put it away wanting to do more, because then I'll be excited to pick it up again the next time. So I look forward to when that comes up again on my wheel. And that is also on an 18 count Aida that came in the kit with the threads that were in the kit. So technically, that's all of my whips that I've worked on. So everything else is new starts. So my first new start was my Christmas Eve new start. I always like to start something Christmassy, something new that's Christmassy. So this year I decided that I would do this chart that came from the November 2019 Cotton and Twine subscription box. This was my Christmas gift last year. My family pooled their money together and bought me a couple of months worth of the Cotton and Twine subscription boxes just so I could have a little bit of fun and get something fun in the mail. So this is what I decided to start on Christmas Eve. And that's how much I got done. So just a little bit, but it was fun. And I was surprised. I was thinking the border was going to be tedious, but it was actually kind of relaxing to do because it's so repetitive. My next new start was my New Year's Eve start. New Year, new start, New Year's Eve, new start. And I've been wanting to do this one for a while. So it's the Crosswing Collections Chipping Sparrow Biscornest. So that's what it'll look like when it's done. Now I have worked on this once since then. It came up as a weekend project, but so that is the bottom of the Biscornu. And I've just started the top. So I just have a little bit, you can see the edge of the nest coming in there. And if you aren't familiar, I'm sure most of you are, if you're not familiar with this pattern, the fun thing about it is the eggs are actually done 1 over 1. So all this is the nest, which I'm just hitting the edge of this nest here, is 2 over 2 on 28 count linen. But the eggs are 1 over 1. So I've never done 1 over 1 before, so I'm kind of excited to try that, and I hope that it goes well. And I'm excited to stitch with those blue colors. So that was my New Year's new start. So then I was supposed to go back to my 2 focus projects, but then things kind of went a little bit crazy that first week of January as far as COVID and the things happening to you poor people in the US. And I just decided to go crazy too, and I just had a bunch of things that I wanted to start, so I started them. So the first one that I started, I know a lot of people have been doing some Carolyn Manning designs, and I was very intrigued and liked the geometry of a lot of her patterns, and thought I would like to maybe try one. So I was looking on her website, and I discovered she had a stitch along from 2019, and it was actually a temperature chart, which I don't know if you've seen some of those. There's a few of them out there, and that was something that always intrigued me too, and I thought it might be fun to do a temperature chart. So I saw this and I thought, well, let's get 2 things in one, and I'll do a temperature chart that is also a Carolyn Manning design. So it's kind of like her granny square ones. So each of these little squares is a day. And so she gives you all the different color combos. So it's like you're doing a little crocheted granny square for each day based on the temperature of that day. And then the black is just the outline. So these are just blanks to make the squares end up making a full rectangle, so it'll look like a quilt when it's done. So what I decided to do, because it's a quilt and quilts are comforting, I thought it would be a nice way to commemorate 2020 in a not so obvious way. So rather than doing the pandemic chart that's called Pandemic, which again, I think is beautiful, and if I had been around when the chart was offered for free that first week, maybe I would have gotten it and thought about stitching it. But I thought this way anyway was a way to subtly remember 2020 without it being quite so obvious. So I am using the temperatures from last year to stitch that. And when I'm done, then I'll have like a little piece that sort of is my way of commemorating 2020. So that was my next new start. Oh, I do have a picture. Let's see if I can show you what it'll look like, kind of, when it is finished. I don't know if you can see this or not. So that's sort of the whole thing finished. So it kind of looks like a quilt or a big Afghan. So my next new start then, so while I was on Carolyn Manning's website, and I like that a lot of her designs are PDFs, so you want that instant gratification. So while I was looking around, I discovered she had a SAL for 2021, and she calls it the Mini Tree Hugger SAL. That's it there. So it's from January to December, so every month she's going to give you another little tree that you can stitch. And then you'll have a forest, I guess, when you're done. So yeah, so this is kind of fun. This is the first tree. She does give you, she does give you a border to go all the way around, but I decided I'm not going to stitch the border yet until I kind of see how the trees are going to be placed. Like, because if they're linear, like if they're in a line, I might decide to stagger them so it does look like a little forest, but I'll have to see when the next ones come out what they look like. So I'm curious to see what the other trees are going to look like. And there's a little bird in that one. His 2 little French nut eyes are not perfect. I might take them out and put little black beads, but for now I'll leave them. So that was fun to stitch. My next one that I started, I don't know if anybody watches Caroline at Off the Grid Needle Arts. she introduced me to the silk stitching app. And I'm not going to try and pronounce the German names, but I was on there taking a look at that, and I found they had a really pretty Christmas. It was a stitch along, but I think I missed, because it probably started earlier in December and this was the first week of January. But at that point when I found it on the app, it was still free, and the whole design was there. So I was looking at it thinking, boy, that'd be a really fun pattern to stitch. Not too complicated, but quite striking in color. So it is called Shooting Stars. And Dorothy Kanzi is the designer. I think she's the creator of the silk stitching app. So that's what it's gonna look like when it's finished. And so I decided when I saw that it might be fun to try it on black. I'm not convinced yet, but I've done a little bit, so I'm gonna keep going and see how it looks on the black. I just thought the red and the black would be really striking, so. But yeah, so I just have a little bit started on that. And then my final new start was a design I found on Etsy a while ago when I was looking for horse patterns, because I like horses and I like stitching horses. So I found this really cool chart. It's just called Stallion. The designer's name is Anna Duplant. You can see it there, I guess. So I just thought that was a really cool picture. So the really interesting thing, and one of the things that intrigued me about this pattern, was she will give you like the chart. You can get a standard, what looks like a standard cross stitch chart, but she also will give you individual charts for each color. So if you're somebody that likes to color complete, you can stitch it that way. It makes it really easy to find the colors that you need to stitch. So that intrigued me because I've never done that before. I've always been somebody that parks when I do full coverage. So what I'm going to try and do with this one is do each color, so color complete each one. And then I want to take photos of each color as I complete it, and then make a little photo montage at the end as each color is added and the picture comes to life. So I thought that would kind of be fun. So, so I've just gotten started on the first color. I'm not even done the first color yet, but that's what I have so far. So that's really cool. I'm looking forward to stitching on that one some more. So those are all of my whips and my new starts since you last saw me. So yeah, I did mention I had one finish, and it was one of my focus patterns for January. So this is Folk Art Fox by Durene Jones. I changed him a tiny bit because I didn't really like his eye. He looked kind of like, I don't know, startled, shocked. So I just took the white out of his eye and I finished him. Good, here he is. Oh, he's so cute. I love him so much. So this is what I plan to do the whole time when I found this pattern, and I'll put a link in the description box down below for all of these things that I've been working on. But I thought, wouldn't that be cool to stitch him and then try to cut him out and sew him in that shape. So I put like crushed walnut shells. It's actually like lizard litter, bird litter. I think the one I got is actually for bottom of bird cages or something. I got it on Amazon. But yeah, so I just found some fabric to put on the back and cut him out. I wasn't sure if it was going to work. I was terrified I was going to wreck the piece in the process, but I thought, well, I can stitch it again if I really needed to. But And then you can see I changed his little eye to that little, just a little brown square. But anyway, that's my folk art fox. I have him sitting near my stitching spot because he makes me smile. So that was my finish. So the next thing I wanted to share with you, a new segment I wanted to start was what I'm calling a future start. And I'm going to use that to allow or encourage myself to kit up something that's in my stash so it's ready to go when I'm ready for a new start. Not that I need any more new starts. Could be dangerous, but I decided to do it anyway. So the one that I am going to be doing, or not going to be doing, in the future, someday I'm going to be doing it, is this Little House Needleworks, the family sampler. So I had never seen this before until a while ago. I was watching Vonna Pfeiffer, the Twisted Stitcher. I was watching one of her old Flosstube videos, and she showed this piece that she had completed it, and I fell in love with it. I'm not a sampler stitcher yet, but obviously I like things that are quaint and cute, and so the style of this, the Little House Needlework style, sort of appeals to me. I love the colors in this chart, and I love how you can customize it. So obviously you put your family name, and then when you stitch the people, she gives you like all the different people. So there's like big girls and boys and little girls and boys. So I can stitch my two daughters, and one will just be taller than the other to sort of indicate, you know, one's the bigger, one's the smaller. And then she gives you all the animals too. So there's cats and dogs. So I'm hoping I can fit all of the pets that we've had in there as well. And the reason I decided to choose this pattern was my husband and I celebrated our 30th wedding anniversary last year, and I wanted to get something to commemorate that. So this was the chart that I chose to do that. So my ideal had been to get the chart and start it, you know, around the time of our anniversary, which was last June. But I ordered this right at the start of COVID. So yeah, I didn't get it till, I can't remember when, maybe August, I'm not sure. But anyway, I'm happy to have it. So along with the chart, I got the called for fabric, which is this Vintage Buttercream by Lakeside Linen. So I'm very excited about that because I've heard so many good things about Lakeside Linens, and I've never stitched on their fabric before. And again, I love the color of this. Then I got the called for flosses, which are all classic Colorworks, and DMC. So they sent me all the strands I would need, because you need multiple strands of those to complete the project. And then I have all the DMC myself. So that is basically all ready to go when I choose to start it. So that's my future start. Then I also wanted to share, I actually have some haul. I don't get haul very often, or certainly not anything that's interesting. But one of my things that happened, one of my life updates, I guess, that I haven't shared yet is, for those of you that are new, I am a small animal veterinarian. And I actually retired last year. I was going to retire in May, but with COVID and some other things that were going on at our clinic, my boss asked me to stay on. So I stayed on until the end of September, and then I retired. And my coworkers, who are also my friends, who know me very well, when they had a dinner for me, a socially distancing dinner, it was very funny because we were at a restaurant. We had a back room, but we had like separate tables. They are all in each other's bubble because they all work together, but they still were sitting at tables that were spread apart. And my husband and daughters and I were at another table that, you know, was more than 6 feet away from everybody else. But it was still fun because we could all still talk and everything. But they gave me two gifts. One, and I'll try and remember to show it next time because I forgot to bring it with me, but one is this beautiful blown glass ornament. And it looks like a tree in the center of it, and it's called the Tree of Happiness. And there was a really, you know, a really nice card written, sort of the story behind the piece of art. And it's a piece of art, and it's beautiful, and I have it hanging over my window. And every time I look at it, I think of my coworkers, and it was a very touching gift. But then the other thing that blew me away is when I opened up the card, there was a gift certificate for Traditional Stitches, which is one of our Canadian cross-stitch stores that sells online. And the gift certificate was for like $275. I was astounded. I couldn't believe it. I was shocked. I cried. So I got to spend that money. So I didn't spend it all, so I still have some left, but I'm going to show you what I did buy. So my good friend Gail in Australia, hi Gail, had blessed me with some stitchy kindness and sent me I think it's Farmhouse Christmas by Little House Needleworks. She sent that to me last year. So I thought this was a great opportunity to kit it up. So I got some Portobello linen. This is from Access Commodities, and it's a 30 count. It was one of the recommended called for fabrics. I do want to stitch them all on one like Gail did and make it into a cushion. So I got that fabric. And then I also got a lot of the threads to go with it. So I've got that. And then another thing that I got, because I've been wanting to do this series for a while, the hands-on design, a year in chalk. I do have a couple of the patterns that I've picked up in a sale bin one time, but that's all that I have. So I got most of the rest that I needed. October was still in back order, so I'm waiting for that one to still come. So I got that, plus I got the chalk thread. I got like a 10-yard skein. I'm hoping that will be enough to do them all. I decided not to buy the hand-dyed flosses, like the colored ones for each month, because that was going to take a big chunk of my gift certificate and I wanted to spend it on other things. And I thought it's only a bit of color on each one, so I'm either going to use the DMC equivalent, or I may just pick a similar hand-dyed floss that I already have on hand here at home. So, and then the last thing that I got, and there were only 3 of these, because I think the winter one just came out. But these are by Jardin Privé. So they're all called Petite Moments, right? So this is Petite Moments of Summer. And she gives you the English spelling. This is autumn. Oh my goodness. Stephanie, look at the fox. That's what I did. Sorry. And this is spring. Ah, the little sheep. The crow. So the winter one is out now. So I'll have to get that one too. But so then I have that whole series to do someday. The only other thing I ordered was the gunmetal weeks fabric for the year in chalk. That was also in back order. So hopefully that will come sometime soon. So that was my haul. So that was exciting. So my plans moving forward into February, I want to keep doing that, you know, focus on 2 projects for the month and then spin the wheel each weekend and just work on what comes up. That seems to be working well so far. I know it's early in the year, so we'll see. yeah, so February 1st, I'll spin my wheel again, but for now, my focus pieces are Christmas Village. And then when I finished Folk Art Fox, I spun again, and actually the Biscornest came up as my other focus project for the rest of January. So that's what I've been working on this week. And yeah, we'll see how that goes. So as far as the stitching goes, that's everything. If that's all that you're interested in, it was nice having you here, and I'll see you. The only other two things I want to do are a sneak peek into my Etsy shop and then a craft from the past. So if you're interested in those, stick around and we'll do that. So my sneak peek into my Etsy shop, I just wanted to show you, last fall I was trying to find ways to use up some of my scraps of material, because the bags take fairly big pieces of material and you end up with all these small pieces. So one thing I discovered was doing like little 9-patch squares. So these were some of my Halloween fabrics that I fussy cut to get the pumpkins in there. And then I made like these little 3x3 squares, sewed them together, did a little top stitching on them, and made some little coasters. So this is a pair of Halloween ones. They just have black and white gingham on the back. So I made a few of those. And then I decided to try doing that on the bags, because I'd seen some people making bags out there that had some, I'm not a quilter, so I don't know, do you consider that quilting? Do you call it patchwork? I'm not sure the right terminology. But anyway, I liked putting the squares together and top stitching on them. That was enjoyable to me. So I decided to try that with some of my bags. So my bags that I make are vinyl front project bags, because those are the ones I like to use. But when I was playing around with doing the patchwork, I did make a couple of like non-vinyl front bags. But they've actually, the couple that I made with the quilting actually have sold already, so I don't have those to show you. But so these are the ones that I did. So the vinyl is still on front, in the front, but it's just the quilting is sort of the backing inside. But yeah, so I just bought a fat quarter bundle of fabric that coordinated and cut the squares and sewed them together and quilted them. And it's obviously a lot more time consuming than just making them with a plain piece of fabric. So that's a yellow one. And then this greeny blue teal colored one. So yeah, I thought those were fun. So stay tuned to the shop, because I'm hoping to do more of those, and I may try and do more of the ones that aren't vinyl in case there's people that are interested in those. So as I was looking up more techniques for using scraps, I discovered something called Quilt As You Go, which I'm now addicted to. I find it really fun. So I recently did a bit of quilting, Quilt As You Go, and I made a little sort of notions pouch, zippered pouch that you could use for notions, and a couple sets of coasters. So here is the set of coasters, oops, sorry, that I have left. I had another set in the bag, and somebody bought those a couple days after I put them up in the shop. So yeah, so I hope to do more of that in the future. I'm kind of trying to make Fridays my scrap day in my Etsy shop, where I, at the very least, take an hour and spend some time cutting my scraps down into usable sizes, or maybe work on something scrappy. So that's a little peek into my Etsy shop, and I'll put a link to the shop down below in case you're curious to check anything out, but it's fine if you don't. So the last thing I want to show you is my craft from the past, and I forgot to grab it, so I'm going to put you on hold for 1 second and go get it. Okay, I'm back. So this kind of encompasses a few crafts, because years ago, like a lot of you, I was a scrapbooker, did a lot of scrapbooking, and actually went to some scrapbooking retreats. And the one year I had met somebody online, and we were going to meet up there. And so we were going to meet up in the airport. So I decided it would be fun, instead of just saying, oh, I'll be the person in the blue t-shirt, I decided to make a tie-dyed t-shirt. So I made this tie-dyed t-shirt and I described it to her and said, that'll be me. So I knew I would stand out in a crowd if she was looking for me. So then years went by and I didn't wear the tie-dyed shirt anymore. I don't think I even wore it at the retreat. I just wore it in the airport until we found each other, kind of thing. But a few years ago, my oldest daughter was going away to college, and I decided it would be fun to take that t-shirt and turn it into a little pillow cover for her to take with her. So a little part of home, a little part of me, kind of thing. And she seemed to really enjoy it. So this is what it looks like. So yeah, it'd be pretty easy to find somebody at an airport if they're wearing a t-shirt with a big red tie-dyed heart on the front of it. So yeah, so that's the cushion. I just made it like an envelope style, and then you can just put pillow form inside it, but it's just really easy to wash. It's soft and squishy. But anyway, that's my craft from the past. So thank you so much, everybody. I appreciate everybody taking the time with your day to stop and visit with me. I really enjoy having someone to share my stitching with. So yeah, thank you so much. If you have any questions about anything, just leave a comment down below. But until next time, I'll see you. Bye.